Welcome to 1189, an online Bible commentary. My name is Tyler Marston, and today we're taking a look at Leviticus chapter 16. So the book of Leviticus is set up in what's called a chiastic structure, which means that there's symmetry to all of these different sections of laws. The very beginning mirrors the end, the second part mirrors the next to last part, and so on. And typically that means that whatever is in the very middle is pretty important. And here we are in the middle of Leviticus. After hearing about the sacrificial system and the duties of the priests and ritual uncleanness, in this chapter we find instructions on the Day of Atonement. It's a holiday that all the rest of the Levitical laws will revolve around, literally, since it's in the middle of the book. It spells out the grace and the mercy that God has for His people, His willingness to remove their sin, their guilt, their iniquity from them. And it symbolizes how through God's mercy we are reconciled to His holy presence. But it also highlights the sacrifice required for that reconciliation. For Christians today, our sacrifice came through the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, and through the command He gave us to follow. We need to take up our crosses, sacrificing our ambition, our desire, sometimes even our lives, and instead model our lives on how Jesus lived. Now the Lord spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they had approached the presence of the Lord and died. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell your brother Aaron that he shall not enter at any time into the holy place inside the veil before the mercy seat which is on the ark, or he will die. For I will appear in the cloud over the mercy seat." We begin with a reminder of what happened back in Leviticus 10. Nadab and Abihu, two of the sons of Aaron, entered the presence of God brazenly. They didn't have proper reverence for His holiness, and they offered strange, profane fire that God had not instructed to be offered. The Spirit of God consumed them, and they died. And so God is telling Moses to tell Aaron, the high priest, to never come behind the veil that is in the tabernacle that separated the Holy of Holies. Inside the Holy of Holies is the Ark of the Covenant, and its lid is called the mercy seat because that's where God's presence was supposed to be dwelling, sitting. That was His throne room. And we see that inherent separation between human and divine. No matter if we keep all those laws on cleanliness, if we make all the right sacrifices, even if we're the high priest of Israel, there is still a thick dividing curtain between who He is and who we are. But there's hope to recover reconciliation. Aaron shall enter the holy place with this, with a bull for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. He shall put on the holy linen tunic, and the linen undergarments shall be next to his body, and he shall be girded with the linen sash, and attired with the linen turban. These are the holy garments. Then he shall bathe his body in water and put them on. He shall take from the congregation of the sons of Israel 2 male goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. Then Aaron shall offer the bull for the sin offering which is for himself, that he may make atonement for himself and for his household. He shall take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meeting. Aaron shall cast lots for the 2 goats, 1 lot for the Lord, and the other lot for the scapegoat. Then Aaron shall offer the goat on which the lot for the Lord fell, and make it a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot for the scapegoat fell shall be presented alive before the Lord, to make atonement upon it, to send it into the wilderness as the scapegoat. These verses detail the specific sacrificial requirements for Yom Kippur, which is translated as the Day of Atonement. Aaron is going to wash himself and get clothed in those fancy priestly garments. He takes a bull as a sin offering to cover his own sins, and then he takes 2 goats, but only one of these goats will be sacrificed as a sin offering on behalf of the people, as we've come to understand it so far. Aaron is instructed to cast lots as to which goat will die and which goat will survive. The goat that's left alive becomes known as the scapegoat, or Azazel in Hebrew. It's a name that literally translates to the goat of removal. That goat will be offered as a living sacrifice to God. It will take on all of the sins of the Israelites and then be cast into the wilderness. And it shows how God is removing the people's sin from them. And by the way, the modern English word scapegoat, meaning a person who takes the fall for a larger group of people, that traces its way back to this specific ritual. Then Aaron shall offer the bull of the sin offering which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his household. And he shall slaughter the bull of the sin offering which is for himself. He shall take a firepan full of coals of fire from upon the altar before the Lord, and 2 handfuls of finely ground sweet incense, and bring it inside the veil. He shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of incense may cover the mercy seat that is on the ark of the testimony. Otherwise he will die. Moreover, he shall take some of the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat on the east side, also in front of the mercy seat. He shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. So first, Aaron offers that bull that's going to be a sin offering for himself and his family. And that shows us that we can't lead and disciple others if we aren't willing to deal with the sin that's in our own lives. Now Aaron takes that fire pan and that incense, and he actually comes behind the veil in the tabernacle. He's walking into the Holy of Holies. He's walking into the presence of God. And this incense both acts as an offering to please God, as well as a way to create some fog and some cloud to still maintain some level of separation from him. And Aaron smears the blood of the bull on the mercy seat, that is the lid of the Ark of the Covenant. He does that 7 times, another Sabbath cycle, and it atones for his sins. It cleanses and purifies him and his family in any of the ways they might have accidentally or intentionally broken God's covenant terms. Then he shall slaughter the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, and bring its blood inside the veil, and do with its blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it on the mercy seat and in front of the mercy seat. He shall make atonement for the holy place because of the impurities of the sons of Israel, and because of their transgressions in regard to all their sins. And thus he shall do for the tent of meeting which abides with them in the midst of their impurities. And so once Aaron's sins have been atoned for, he goes back and sacrifices that goat as a sin offering on behalf of all the people. Then he brings the blood back into the Holy of Holies and smears its blood on the Ark of the Covenant as well. And this atones for all of the sins, transgressions, and impurities of the people. It also purifies and cleanses the tabernacle itself, given the way it's constantly exposed to man's broken world. Now, the death of just one animal allows for fellowship between a holy God and an imperfect group of people. And the death and resurrection of Jesus does the same for us. Meanwhile, more instructions are given that no one enters the tabernacle while Aaron is in the Holy of Holies. And when Aaron comes out of the tabernacle, he also sanctifies the bronze altar by smearing some of the goat's blood on it. When he finishes atoning for the holy place and the tent of meeting and the altar, he shall offer the live goat. Then Aaron shall lay both of his hands on the head of the live goat, and confess over it all of the iniquities of the sons of Israel, and all their transgressions in regard to all their sins. And he shall lay them on the head of the goat, and send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a man who stands in readiness. The goat shall bear on itself all their iniquities to a solitary land, and he shall release the goat into the wilderness. Once all of the atonement sacrifices has been offered, Aaron confesses the sins of all the people of Israel while laying hands on the scapegoat. The goat now symbolically carries all of the sins of all of the people. And when it's led into the wilderness, it's a sign that the Israelites have been forgiven. God has removed that sin from them, and they now live in fellowship with him. It's similar to the way Paul describes Jesus in 2 Corinthians 9. He says that he who knew no sin became our sin. And when he was crucified, that sin became removed from us so that we could take on his righteousness. Verses 23 through 28 instruct the Israelites to offer the fat portions on the altar while burning the rest of the sin offering outside the camp. That's the typical way of doing a sin offering according to Leviticus 4. And it's yet another way to show how God has removed that sin from them. And then there's instructions for Aaron to wash again, as should the priests who led out the scapegoat and the ones who burnt the sin offerings on the altar. This shall be a permanent statute for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall humble your souls and not do any work, whether the native or the alien who sojourns among you. For it is on this day that atonement shall be made for you to cleanse you. You will be clean from all your sins before the Lord. It is to be a Sabbath of solemn rest for you, that you may humble your souls. It is a permanent statute. So the priest who is anointed and ordained to serve as priest in his father's place shall make atonement. He shall thus put on the linen garments, the holy garments, and make atonement for the holy sanctuary. And he shall make atonement for the tent of meeting and for the altar. He shall also make atonement for the priests and for the people of the assembly. Now you shall have this as a permanent statute, to make atonement for the sons of Israel for all their sins once every year. And just as the Lord had commanded Moses, so he did. Finally, instruction is given to replicate these atonement sacrifices once every year. It becomes basis for the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, which is still celebrated by Jews today. It was a marker that whatever you had done in the past year, it could be forgiven because of God's great mercy. But they still had to make these offerings year after year. Grace wasn't permanent yet. That was until Jesus became our true atonement once and for all through his life, death, and resurrection. No matter who you are or what you've done, you can find atonement in the cross. You can be reconciled to the God who created you and the God who loves you, not because of anything we've done, but because of his great mercy and our willingness to obey him and believe in the sacrificial death and resurrection of Jesus. Yet we should also remember that while this grace is free, it's not cheap. It demanded the life of Jesus. And Jesus calls us to lay down our lives too. Thanks for watching 1189. I hope you have a good day, and God bless.